3, 2, 1, go!
Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Well, let's put a caveat on that review part. It's not per se a review. This is going to be me talking about a anime that I really enjoyed that I finally finished. Like, I had started it when it first came out in 2021. I never finished it. And it was more so, I think, because at the time I was watching a lot of stuff and I couldn't really find the time to really sit down and just enjoy it. And I actually did talk about it for other articles I was doing for Honey's Anime. But I was always telling them, like, I wasn't caught up with the show. I wasn't doing this. So I finally had the chance to sit down because I know it's a second season, which I'll talk more about that in a second too, came out for it. And obviously from the title, you guys already know it's going to be about Horimiya, or Hori-san to Miyamura-san. But no one calls it that. I don't even think even the anime industry calls it that. Like, they have it where when the show comes up in the opening, which, by the way, one of my favorite openings, I think, of all time. I love Horimiya's opening, the first season. They have the whole title, but usually most people refer to it as just Horimiya. Now, in case you guys missed the whole thing of what Horimiya is, I'll give you guys kind of a quick summary of the show and all that. So, it stars two main characters, Hori and Miyamura. Hori, at school, is a very social butterfly. You know, she's not super popular per se, but she's well-known enough that, for the most part, the school respects her. She's well-liked by her peers. She's very nice. She's very polite. She seems, you know, very just calm and kind of cool. And Miyamura is like the total opposite side of that spectrum, where he's very quiet to himself. He's an introvert. You know, he's always got, like, long hair. He seems like he's always wants to be by himself. He wears, you know, blazers when it's 1,000 degrees outside. He doesn't really wear short sleeves, but there's a reason for that. As you quickly discover, both of them live very different lives outside of the school. So outside, Hori is actually very to herself. She's very quiet. She doesn't want to, you know, be out there partying all the time. She's more so like a homebody or a housewife, if anything. She takes care of her brother Sota, and really, for the most part, is not what you see at school. Meanwhile, Miyamura is a little bit different. He's got a ton of piercings. He's got tattoos on his body. He's more kind of like a rebellious type of character. Now, it doesn't mean he's not like a social butterfly, like the reverse of her. More so, he's just very kind of, I want to say, for the Japanese landscape, he's very different, because Japanese people don't really go around showing piercings and showing tons of tattoo unless they're, you know, let's just say a different side of Japanese culture. But it's pretty cool, because what ends up happening is they have a chance encounter when Miyamura runs into Sota, that he hurt himself, brings him to the house that Hori is at, and they realize, oh wait, we go to school together, we're in the same class. And it's from there that a romance is born. This show is very quick, very, very fast to establish the romance between these two characters, which, I'll be honest with you, I love that. A lot of anime, and I mean, I think we could all say this if you're an anime fan of romance, the romance genre in anime, is it takes a surreal amount of time for romance to build up in a series. Sometimes it takes even a second season for the romance to build up in a series. You'll have like these kind of playful moments, or this kind of cutesy, like, oh, I love you, but you didn't hear me type things, or you did hear me, but I'm not going to acknowledge it because I'm afraid to acknowledge it, that stuff. Nah, Horimiya doesn't do that. It actually has a scene where it actually makes fun of another anime that did that. I'm not going to say which one it is, because I don't want to be mean to it, because I do actually love the show it does. But where the main character does tell a girl that's sleeping, in this case, Miyamura tells Hori that he loves her. And, you know, he thinks that, oh man, she didn't hear me. And then later on, she goes, no, I heard you. I was like so shocked by what you said that I didn't know how to respond to it at the time. But it's very quick that they get into a relationship. I think by the halfway point of the season, they're already in a relationship. They're boyfriend and girlfriend. They have their kind of moments where they're not that close, but then they get really, really close more toward the end, where they start establishing that, you know, their differences is what makes them so great. And it's interesting too, because I think Hori's character is almost like the male characters for a lot of romance stories, because she's very tough. She tends to be very quick to get angry. It's like she's almost like a tsundere, but I don't want to call her a tsundere, because that to me would be almost like establishing that's her whole character. Like it's more than that. She's a character with a lot of layers to her. And same thing with Miyamura. Like, Miyamura is a stoic, very stoic character, but that's not his only thing about his character. He's someone that he's very kind, he's caring, but he's also been bullied a surreal amount, and he's also been mistreated at school. So it causes him to kind of go inside of himself rather than lash out at people, or rather than be super depressed and be angsty. He's just more so to himself, and in this kind of this mellow / I don't hate life, but I don't really particularly love it. Like and I think people will not see that unless they really pay attention to that, because I think they think right away that Miramura is that depressed character, and it's really not per se depression. It's more so a thing where you just go through the vibes of life and you're just trying to get through everything because you know that's the only thing you can do. I actually, in many ways, I think I sided with Miramura's character, and I felt myself almost kind of having a bond with him, because in school, I was obviously, many of you know at this point. If you're new to my channel, you don't know this. So I'm not going to go into super details about it, but I was very bullied in school, and I kind of became a loner in many ways to kind of avoid getting in trouble with people, or avoid getting bullied by people or getting talked by people. And I made some friends as time went by, and especially when I went to switch schools and stuff, I made more friends, etc. But I was to myself. So I think Miramura in many ways kind of exhibits that. I mean, I didn't get tattoos or piercings or anything like that, but it's interesting because it kind of goes in your mind of like, how do I establish myself differently from everyone else to kind of stand out, not in a bad way, but in a way that maybe makes me look cooler, or maybe makes myself feel special or stuff like that. It's interesting. So I kind of side with this character. But that's a summary of the story, and I spent like more time than I want to talk about, but just in case you guys really want to see it, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to even go into a review thing of this. I want to just tell you, this show is like a 10 out of 10 for me. It's an A+ on my rating scale. It's so good. I really have only minor gripes about it, and even those minor gripes don't overshadow the fact of the series that I love it so much. I ordered and I should have pulled it up for this video, but I didn't think of it just till now. I actually ordered the limited edition of the anime, the first season, because that's how much I loved it. And it's very rare because I wasn't done finishing the show yet. I actually stopped at episode, I think it was like 10 or 11, ordered that, waited until it got in Blu-ray, and then watched the rest of it on my TV, because I was watching it actually on my computer and my phone at the time. But I really enjoy the show because I think it's very different than most romance stories. That's kind of what I want to talk about. I know a lot of people will complain about, the fact that it's the manga didn't the manga came out and obviously finished, but then when the anime came out, it didn't adapt everything from the manga. It's a 16-volume, manga series that, you adapted into a 13 anime series. You kind of understand why there's a lot of stuff that's cut out for time. And ironically, I know this is going to maybe cause some friction here or there, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't mind that they skipped over some stuff. Like, I did start reading the manga. I see where they started skipping certain things. A lot of it feels like it's just meant to kind of just add to the story, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's necessary per se, but it's not 100% necessary for the main story. Like, my biggest gripe with Horimiya, first season, mind you, because we'll talk about the second one briefly after near the end of the video. My biggest gripe with the first season is that it has a lot of characters that kind of get, they're there, and then thrown into the story to more interweave their stories, and then finally give it time to shine. And I feel like that was probably the worst way to handle them. Like, for example, Toru is Hori's first crush, and also it ends up being Miramura's first, like, major friend. And his whole arc is where the other girl, I think her name's Yuki. Yuki likes Toru, but also she's trying to, like, kind of not be that way because she wants to be his friend. It is like their relationship gets intertwined and more so shown near the end of the series. Like, it starts focusing less on Miramura and Hori and focus on them. I didn't per se hate that. I didn't love it either, but I didn't hate it. The reason I didn't hate it and the reason I loved it, the reason I didn't hate it was that, or excuse me, I didn't like it, was the fact that what was cool about it was that you've already established that Hori and Miramura are a relationship. They're already a couple at one point. They are now going through their own little trials and tribulations in life. And what the story does is kind of flip switches on you, where it then switches to, some of the side characters, some of the friends, and shows how their lives have been not only just, going on, have been changed by Miramura and Hori being together, but how they're realizing, okay, you know what, I actually have feelings for this character. I have feelings for this character. I actually didn't dislike that. And then there's some of this thrown in characters, and I felt that they're like, unnecessary. Like, there's one shy girl that really loves Hori, but hates all guys because she's got like agoraphobia, which I think is the proper way of saying you have a fear of men. It's that stuff is like, it's okay. It's not great, but at the same time, it's still not enough to like even distract from the main thing of Horimiya. Because again, if it was another series, I might have said, okay, maybe it's not a 10 out of 10, maybe it's like a 9 out of 10, and or like in my case, like A- or A. I don't want to put it that way. Like, I was thinking about this the other day because I actually put on Mal and I got to change it because Mal, I put it as a 9 out of 10. And then I really sat down, and I don't know if you guys do this in, when you watch anime, but I sat down and thought about it. I was like, is this a show that really is a 9 out of 10? Is it lower than that? Is it because I really liked it for whatever reason? What was the reasons I liked it? What was the reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10? And I realized my mistake was I didn't understand that one thing I love that the show does so well is it knows how to pace itself for a romance story. A lot of romance anime are very badly paced. They either take too long to get to a relationship factor, or they take no amount of time to get to something that's a kind of relationship, or it takes like almost 2 seasons, 3 seasons before your relationship is like set in stone that, okay, these two are dating, now let's talk about what they do from now. Horimiya skips that. They go, hey, listen, this dude meets this girl, they fall in love, they start realizing that they're different, they start liking their differences, they just get together. I love that. That's a very realistic thing that happens in real life. You don't always have to have this, oh, we have to go on dates, like 50 dates before we realize we like each other, or, oh, I didn't know you for this while, now I gotta start learning. No, sometimes it's quick. Sometimes you get into a relationship with someone like that, and then you love them. I mean, I think we've all had that, where we fall in love with someone or really fall in attraction for someone we just barely met, and we're like, wow, I love who you are. I love everything about you. I've known you for maybe less than like a couple of weeks, but just something about you just triggers that in you. I think that's what Horimiya does so well. Now, my biggest gripe is with the second season, which is what I want to talk about a little bit too, is the second season is what essentially is a fanfare letter to all of them, or sorry, a fan letter to all the people out there that were like, oh, I hated that it didn't adapt this story. I didn't put this story from the manga into the anime. And so the second season is all these like these side characters, side stories that they throw into the main mix, where don't get me wrong, it still has Horimiya, it still has, Hori and Miramura. That's why I kind of put their names together for a second. I'm sorry. It's sometimes like just easy to put their names together when you say their names individually. That's why their names fit so perfectly together. But it still has Hori, it still has Miramura. There's still a big focus on the story. It has them at different junctions of their relationships. Like, so in the beginning, it has them at one point when they were just close friends, not relationship yet. They also has them when they're full-on boyfriend, girlfriend. It has some of the side characters, how they're producing school events together. It's nice. I like it for like a side story. I don't know if it needed to be a second season. Like, I feel like you could do this as an OVA type thing, where you could add maybe like 6-episode OVA. I don't know how long. Let me see if I even know. Right now, I know there's 5 episodes out for the television. It's called by the Horimiya of the Missing Pieces, which is, again, because of the things that they weren't adapted into the anime from the manga. But it's 5 episodes right now. I'm going to presume, because it's 5 episodes right now, that it's probably going to go up to 12 or 13 episodes. I don't know if that was... I don't even know if you really count that as a second... Like, some people are saying it's the second season. I'm like, is it really a second season? It's more like a after story type thing. Like, it's, I don't feel like it was necessary. Unless... This is what I pray for, guys. This is what I pray for. Is that they adapt the ending of the manga and put that into the last part of the season. Which, if they do that, I will 100% take back a lot of what I'm thinking of with the second season. I'll say, like, okay, that's the best way of doing it. Oh my god, great idea. Still won't get a 10 out of 10 out of me, but it'll get like a, maybe A- for me. But here's why you need to watch Horimiya. This is kind of like the whole chunks of this video, and I'm kind of jumping around because I really like the show so much. And I don't know if you guys know, but that's the whole thing of my channel, is that when I talk about something, I'm not doing a script, I'm not doing all that stuff, I'm just talking about my love for something. Or my hate. But in this case, I love. Sorry. I love Horimiya because it is a story that is your romance comedy but it has drama, obviously. But it's done in a way that is very realistic. And it's done in a way that's very fun to just watch. I love the characters. I think all the characters have so many layers to them. Like, even Hori, where you could say she's like the housewife type character and all that. She's someone that has a lot of things, because it's not because she's trying to be like that on purpose. It's more so because she knows what her responsibilities in life. She has a mother who works all the time. She has a father who's in and out of the life because he works to himself in different places. And so she has to be the mother to her brother. And essentially, she's taking care of him. She, makes sure that he's always properly fed, etc. It's not like, oh, I'm doing this because I have to. It's more so because she wants to, and because she knows that's her responsibility. And the same way with Miramura. Miramura doesn't per se have to have tattoos and piercings, but he did it because he was at a junction in his life where he didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he wanted to be a cool character. He didn't know if he wanted to be a continued loner. He thought his best bet was to be this guy who goes, you know what, I'm going to put some tattoos on, piercing, just to kind of make myself different from everyone else. Maybe that will make it so that's why everyone leaves me alone, or maybe that's why everyone kind of puts me to like, oh, they don't want to hang out with me. Maybe it's like he wants to justify it. And I think that's so cool about this story, is that these characters, even like the Toru, for example. Toru's like again the friend. You know, his character is, yeah, he loves Hori, but he starts realizing that he also loves Miramura in the sense that that's his friend, that's someone he cares about, and seeing them together is what makes him happy. So he does something that, like, I've unfortunately had happen to me a few times in my life, where you love someone to, like, you want them in a relationship, you want them to be in your life that way, but you know that they like someone else or they're in a relationship with someone else, and you kind of have to go, you know what, I'm gonna put that to my heart. You separate that love, you separate it, and only very mature people, like, I'm telling you this right now, folks, this is kind of a tangent real fast, but only very mature people could do that. A lot of people say they can do that and, you know, mean it, but not many people can actually do it. It's a very hard thing to kind of, you know, detach yourself from the love aspect of the physical love aspect of something and just have the love of someone just going, you know what, I care about them, I want them to be happy, let me help them in that sense. It's hard. It is very hard, and you have to put yourself at a whole different level. It's like a whole different section of life. It's very tough, but I love that Toru does that. If you think about it, he loves Miramura. I mean, excuse me, he loves well, he does love Miramura. But he loves Hori so much that he goes, I want her to be happy, and I know I can't provide that, but Miramura can. So I'm gonna help them as much as I can. And then meanwhile, Yuki, her character too. You know, Yuki is someone that she doesn't know per se that if it's love she feels or if it's like more than that or what she wants from this. All she knows is that she's very stoic about herself. She just sees herself not in the main character role. She doesn't see herself getting that relationship. And all these characters that show up, like, I mean, there are another. Those are just a fraction of the characters that are in Horimiya. All these characters have so much depth and levels to them that it's so nice to see this. It's so refreshing because you can go to, like, even you guys know one of my top romances is Clannad. You know, it's one of my top. I've watched Clannad, I think, more than, like, I think a dozen times. I've seen the movie several times. I love Clannad. Clannad is a very 2D kind of perspective of characters. You have the main dude who is a very cool guy, but at the same time is very stoic at times. He's also very, you know, rough and anger-filled because of his things in his life. And you have the main girl who's the sickly girl who's trying to be positive. It's a very 2D, one-note kind of thing. I love the stories, though. I love the concept of it. I love the relationship that happens. That's why I love Clannad. That's why I always give Clannad like a perfect A+, you know, for me at least. And I love the, you know, the after story, which is even better. But I will say that what Miramura does better, or Horimiya does better, is that it realizes that these relationships are very realistic. It has very realistic characters, even if it's in an anime. These are characters that they're not doing the usual stuff of stories. They're not like, you know, oh, we're just goofing around all the time. No, they're doing stuff that they're living life as students. They're doing stuff that, you know, shows they love, you know, each other, but they're also doing stuff that shows that they're kind of jealous of one another, that they're trying to vie for each other's attention, that they're doing stuff that pushes their relationships further, that also, you know, kind of pushes themselves further in life, you know, makes it so they're maturing in many ways, not just by being in a relationship, but also showing, hey, listen, I can't be with this person, but I can also push myself further by doing this. There's a lot of stuff for this series. That's why if you have not watched Horimiya, get on it. It's on Crunchyroll. The full anime series, if you don't want to buy it on a split edition, I think it's like $59 or $49 or something like that. It's freaking amazing. It's so good. I am gonna get the manga. I'm gonna get all 16 volumes of them in one shot. I'm gonna get there's a few people I have ideas of who I'm gonna buy it from. But it's so good. It's such a good series. And the missing puzzle pieces, or the puzzle pieces, whatever the hell it's missing pieces, that's what it's called. It's good too. It's not bad. I mean, like I said, I want to see what it does with the endings and stuff like that. I want to see if it adapts the manga ending, or even the visual. That was not the visual. I think it's the web comics or web thing that they had. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Well, I forgot what exactly it is, but I know there's another ending to Horimiya that came out that was like a before the manga type thing, where it actually has them like having kids and all that. But I want to see if they adapt that. I want to see if they adapt the ending of the story into the second season, because I think that would be so cool to see that, to like see them all kind of grown up and to see them in you know, actually married, etc. like that. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys and girls, that's it for today. I will talk to you all later. Have a great, God blessed day, everyone. Until I pass across to the next review, or well, next video, I will talk to you later. Bye bye, everyone.